And up until last year, it was pretty ruddy. But now, as we said before, it's been resurfaced and is boulevard smooth. Look at this Mercedes and Porsche battling wheel to wheel. And a squadron of them coming over the hill.
Schlesser to the inside. He's looking for an opening. This is at 230-plus miles an hour, folks, and he gets through a hole. Jean-Louis Schlesser, son of Joe Schlesser, a great French driver who unfortunately and tragically was killed in a racing accident at Rouen back in the 60s, driving a Honda-engined race car. And the man for whom the Ligier Formula One cars are designated JS. This is his son, Jean-Louis Schlesser, who had it written into his contract for Mercedes some years ago that he would not run at Le Mans. He is very critical of the course and its lack of safety over the years, but this year he decided he would come back and run with his Mercedes teammates.
The death here of Joe Gardner a few years ago soured many of the world's top drivers on the circuit. You talk about the shoulders there. Used to be sand outside the Tarte Rouge corner. If you got off the road, you bogged down in the sand and had to take a shovel out of the car and dig yourself out as they used to do in the old days.
There is Mercedes, followed by a pair of Porsches, and behind them comes another of the Nissans. Remember, Julian Bailey has already spun and crashed one of the Nissans. We don't know if he's back on the racetrack yet.
I think the quality of the cars and the tires is evident here, where they can run side by side through some of these fast corners that for years you had to get in line to go through single file.
Action continuing all the way around the massive and legendary 8.4-mile Le Mans circuit, and we'll be right back.
There's a rough road ahead with no end in sight. Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
Quaker State is quality engineered to exceed every single American, European, and Japanese car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection.
So pistons are protected from friction mile after mile. Valves are protected from wear year in.
A year ago here at Le Mans, we took a little jogging tour of the Mulsanne straightaway, which runs 3 miles from Tarte Rouge down to the Mulsanne corner. Well, I'm in much better shape.
Bob, excuse me, but, you know, last year you took 26 minutes to do what the cars take in 1. Now, this is a sport made for wheels, and these are the finest set of wheels I can find in France. Why don't you go get some breakfast, and I'll show the folks how fast it can really be done. I'll see you at the other end, okay, buddy? Bye. Over my shoulder is the restaurant Jenny Zell and the Hotel de 24 Hours, a great place to eat and stay here on the Mulsanne Straight. In fact, the cars reach this point in about 20 seconds. It's taken me a little under 7 minutes. Bob's nowhere to be found. Over my shoulder is the world-famous kink at the Mulsanne Straight. It takes the race cars about 45 seconds to make it to this point. It took me a little over 10 minutes. That house you saw in the beginning, well, that's fortunately where we're staying this week, and Bob's so far back, I'm going for a cup of coffee. Be back soon. Well, here we are at the end of the Mulsanne Straight at the Mulsanne Curve, and I made it in just under...
Precisely 15 minutes, dear boy. What took you so long?
What are you doing here?
Manpower. I told you I was in better shape this year.
Wait a minute. My steering was bad. I got a tire going down. The bell was down. Extra wind resistance. Rematch!
And as we update you on our relative speed at Le Mans feature, we have had a pit stop, and John Nielsen has pitted the second-place Jaguar. So unofficially, that makes your order Jones in the Jag, followed by Wallach in a Porsche, Baldy in a Mercedes. Let's go down to pit road and Marty Reed.
Well, we found out what happened on the number 2 Nielsen Jaguar. He got punted from the rear from the number 24 Nissan. Now, the Nissan, apparently, we can't see through all the people, but it is being retired. It's being pulled back behind the pit wall here. So the Nielsen Jaguar, meanwhile, put on a new rear section, made a couple adjustments in the wing apparatus, and it's back out on course.
Well, I sympathize with you down there on pit road, Marty. It is enormously crowded here in the pit lane at Le Mans. It is an absolute zoo down there. I don't know how they get the race cars in and out, much less avoid running over people's toes and things. Quickly with the headlights on, there you see the number 3 Jaguar. Davy Jones of the United States is leading at Le Mans. The upper left rear corner also with headlights on is Bob Wallach of France.
Here's Davy Jones moving on in traffic there. I'm amazed at how close the fast cars are running and how the team managers are permitting it to take place.
Davy Jones in the number 3 Jag right there in your picture has set the fast lap of the race, 3:23.94. Let's take another look at the pass. Up the front straightaway as Davy Jones, still in his 20s, but driving like a man who has been at Le Mans for decades.
His career has really been impressive of late. He's shown great breadth, excelling in IndyCar racing as well as sports car road racing. He's on his way to a great future. He'll be one of America's foremost drivers in the years to come.
Our friends from French television showing their love affair with slow motion there. Back once more, live action now on the Mulsanne with an enormous lens compacting the distance. There you see Bob Wallach with headlights on, moving into the right-hand lane. That is the second-place car as he tries to run down this Jaguar. One has to wonder whether the Jaguar strategy is to send out a car, get a rabbit out there. Remember that driving with Wallach in that pink Porsche is Hans Stuck, and he is the man the Jaguar team says they fear most. A year ago, when his team, when Stuck's Works Porsche fell 7 minutes behind, Stuck, Klaus Ludwig, and Derek Bell made up 4 of the minutes and wound up finishing just a minute and change behind. There they come, over the brow of the Mulsanne at more than 200 miles an hour. Live action from the 24 Hours of Le Mans coming your way here on ESPN, and we'll be right back.
From Rocky Mountain snow to Florida sun, Quaker State engines don't know when to quit.
Mine's pushing 250,000 miles.
Quaker State engines run strong and run long.
95,000 miles and no problem.
Quaker State is quality engineered to exceed every single car maker's U.S. requirements for maximum engine protection.
This car's new. I'd be stupid not to use Quaker State.
Up, and there is a hint that there may be some rain coming later in the day, and that makes it a whole new ball game for the 55 cars in the 57th running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. ESPN Speed World coverage of this 24 hours is brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. And by new extra strength Brute 33 antiperspirant and deodorant. Your leader at this point in the race, barely a half hour in, is Davy Jones in a Jaguar, followed by Bob Wallach in a Porsche, Mauro Baldi in a Mercedes, Jochen Mass also for a Mercedes, and Frank Jelinski of Germany in a Porsche. The adventure is just beginning here. 23 and a half hours of racing still to come. You will go through your day and your night, and we will be racing here at Le Mans, and we will be coming your way tomorrow to bring you to the conclusion, and all of the highlights of this great race will be coming to you at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 a.m. Pacific. So join us, won't you, for breakfast at Le Mans. And in between, you can stay updated on the highlights by calling a special telephone number. It's our Le Mans hotline, 1-900-990-9000. The number again, 1-900-990-9000. Each call will cost you 95 cents, but throughout the entire 24 hours, we'll be updating it hourly. Chris Economaki, myself, Marty Reed, and all of our colleagues here at Le Mans will be giving you all the information as the race progresses. Right now, we are lapping cars, barely a dozen laps into this race, and when you consider that the track is 8.4 miles around, that gives you some idea of the enormous speeds they're running here. There is the kink, where the cars switch to the left-hand lane of your screen there to the apex at 240 miles an hour.
Bob Wallach just set the fastest lap of the race, 3 minutes, 22.69 seconds, 240 kilometers an hour lap speed.
There they go through the signaling corner, and Wallach with a real dicey pass there. That is a very narrow strip. In fact, it's part of a traffic circle in the village of Mulsanne, from which that corner takes its name. In fact, we keep referring to it as the Mulsanne straightaway. If you're really hip, you call it Le Hunandier, because that is the formal name of that stretch of road that reaches to Mulsanne
sort of
corner.
A race within a race in this car, because when it's all over, Bob Wallach will want it to be the holder of the fastest lap in the car, and Hans Stuck will also want it on. It's interesting that Hans Stuck does not like to be classified as a German. He prefers to be known as a Bavarian. They sort of separate themselves from the rest of West Germany there. So we have a Frenchman and a Bavarian teamed up, two of the fastest drivers in sports car racing here.
There you see the run down to the Porsche curves as you watch Bob Wallach of France in the second place machine. Your leader once again is Jones. There you see another of the Broom cars in the pits. It is Jones for Jaguar, Wallach for Porsche, Baldi for Mercedes, and Jelinski for Porsche. We're going to leave you now, but we will be back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 Pacific. Listen to the ESPN hotline. I'm Bob Barsha for Chris Economaki and Marty